Welcome back once again. This is our sixth video tutorial. I will continue from the previous tutorial that we ended. This is a table, or the table that we had in the previous. Now, we calculated the total number of goals, or the total goals that was scored by each player in the tournament. Then we have also looked at the highest goal scored and the lowest goal scored, which is 9, and also the number of players that took part in the competition. Now this time around we are going to look at other formulas in Microsoft Office Excel. Now you will also rename this sheet. I had formerly a sheet 2 or sheet 1, so you right click and take rename, then rename the sheet to football. So when you rename the sheet to football, you click on enter, so that this sheet will be the football sheet, this one will be the breakfast sheet. Now this is what we need to find in our Microsoft Office Excel page. Now another thing very peculiar with Microsoft Office Excel is that we need to know when to use the formula. You may not have something the same like this, but you will have something that you need to apply the formulas you learn or you acquire in class, and you're going to apply them in your exam questions that will be given to you in your exam. So this is absolutely what we have here. So we are going to calculate the total number of goals scored in the tournament. So I'm sure I just want us to do this. I want to insert a new column here, or a new row rather, sorry for the mistake. So I would want to say total number of goals. Let me just say total number of goals, total goals. Good. Now the total number of goals that was scored so far, I may want to put them here. I would say equal to some, I would highlight this area, I hit enter. 131 goals was scored in total. Now the next thing that I am going to look for, I'm going to calculate the total number of goals that were scored in January, February, March, April, right up to wherever I want it to be. Now I'll say equal to sum. I'll sum in this range of cells. This is for January. I'll do for February. I'll do for March. So you see that this is the total number of goals that were scored so far in the tournament. Now look at something. We need to walk in line with the syllabus, what it wants us to do now, or what you will find, or what you may find in the exam hall. Now I want us to rank these players, because sometimes they usually say the player with the highest goal is this, and seconded by this, and the third person is this. So we need to look at the ranking, goal ranking, the highest goals right up to the person with the least goals. So we'll call this the goal ranking column. So this is going to be our goal ranking column. So if we want to rank these players with respect to the number of goals, we are going to use the rank formula. Remember, all formulas in Excel starts with an equal sign. So I'll say equal to rank. I'll put my inverted commas or bracket open and close, and inside there I'm going to fix my formula. Now it's going to be different. Now what do I want to rank? I want to rank Adama and Adama's mark is this, or Adama's number of goals is this, which is found on cell F3. So what do I want Excel to do for me? I'll tell Excel rank Adama, comma, in this range. So Adama will be ranked in this range. So I will look for the position of Adama on F3, so F3, in this range of goals. So by the time I do that, I hit enter, and I am going to notice that Adama happens to be the 5th highest goal scorer. Now in Excel, we are so fond of auto-filling formulas in the rest of the cells. So let's see how or what happens when we autofill the rank formula to the rest of the cells. Now, I autofill. After autofilling, something funny will occur. I don't know if you've noticed the funny thing that has occurred. Now, if you look at it critically, you will notice that this goal here on Sammy is ranked the 3rd. Same for Seth, the 3rd, but Seth has just 12 goals. And if you look at it, Gabby with 18 goals is also ranked the 3rd. So it means that when you autofill the formula, you mostly find duplicate functions each time you autofill the rank formula. Something funny like this will happen, but we don't need this. We don't need that. In Excel, we use two kinds of formulas using two kinds of references. There is what they call the relative cell reference, and there is also what they call an absolute cell reference. So what we have been using thus far from the start to the finish of the lesson is the relative. So we need to use the absolute cell references. When do we use the absolute cell reference? We use the absolute cell reference when Excel, after autofilling, does not execute that command, does not give us the right answer each time we are working with that, or the formula does not obey that particular order that it needs to go. So we use the absolute cell reference in that case, and this is how we apply. But before you apply, you must check the formula to know where to apply it, because you don't apply it in the rest of the formula, although at certain cases you may want to apply it in the rest of the formula. Now let's check our formula. I double click here. Now look at what happens. This blue is signifying the cell reference where I am pointing to. I am pointing to F3. Now after pointing to F3, I will check the range, and then this range here is what Excel has looked for it here. So this is the range that Excel has looked for, F3 to F11. That's why it is colored green. So by the time I hit enter, something happens there, which is 5. Now it means that 5 is the highest, the 5 signifies the position of Adama with respect to the goal scorer. Now if I double click here, it is telling me F4, but now you see that the range has skipped. Instead for it to be F3 to F12, it is now F4 to F12. So it is already telling you that the range is the thing misbehaving. So let's see what happens if I double click here. If I double click here, and this is not even where I need to double click. If I double click here, you notice that F8 will always remain the same. This cell reference always remains the same, but the range will always change. So it means that I'm going to apply my absolute reference on the range. So I'll come back to where my formula has been applied, and this is where it does that rubbish. So I am going to put a $sign before the column F and a $sign before the row 3, and I would repeat the same thing here, $sign, and I hit enter. It is 5. So now if I autofill, I solve the problem. Now if you look at it very well, 13 are ranked the same because they have the same number of goals, and then Rollo happens to be the person with the highest number of goals. That's why he's the first, and the second is 18. You have two 18s, and that's why definitely you will not see third, because in a range of entries or cells, each time that you have a repetition or the same values, in normal words you say bracket, each time a bracket occurs in a range, you skip the next number that succeeds it. That's what you need to understand. So that's why you see there is no third. So for me to make third to appear here, let me just show you what happens. So I want to reduce this one to 7. So you see that when I reduce it to 7, the number has dropped to 17. So 17 now will be the third highest goal. So in that light, this is what we need to do. So I want to insert comments now on my cell. So that is how you can use the rank formula. I want to insert comments on my cells. Now I want to insert a comment on the cell of the highest or the first highest goal scorer, Rolo. I want to insert a comment there, highest goal. Now when you insert a comment, something will happen. You see a small red triangle somewhere along your cell. So you right click and you see insert comment. Now you do this and I'll put highest goal scorer. Remember, when you do that, you see a small red something appears even without you clicking, pointing to that cell. You see highest goal scorer. So the person who happens to be the last is Isa. I don't really know what he was doing in the field, but it needs to be the last. So you right click and then you take insert comments, then you put delete. You normally find something there. You put lowest goal scorer. Is what I have. When you're done with that, you just click outside. So you see that comments have been inserted here for lowest goal scorer, and another comment has been inserted here for the highest goal scorer. So that is what will happen each time you find yourself in a situation like that or a scenario like that where you need to apply some formulas in the range of yourself. So this is what you also need to find. Now I want to look at the number of players who have scored more than 11 goals. More than 11 goals. The number of players who have scored more than 11 goals. Not from 11, but more than, meaning from 12 and above. Now, there are some kind of formulas in Excel, conditional formulas. I am going to use the count if formulas. Remember, we used the count formula to calculate this when you look at your formula bar. And then this time around, we are going to look at something different. Forget about what I've done. It shows that I had to do something different there. Now here we need to look at the number of players who scored above 11 goals. We are going to use the count if formula. So remember, all your formulas in Excel should start with an equal sign and count if, because I am counting with respect to a particular condition. Remember, if is a conditional statement. So I will count with respect to a particular condition. So what am I telling Excel to do? Excel should count if in this range of cells from from so F3 to F11. If Excel will find any mark that is greater than 11. Remember, our formula in Excel is to count the number of players who have scored more than 11 goals. So by the time I hit enter, Excel tells me it is 11. That's how it goes. So you say number more than 11. So I would highlight. So I will insert my formula again, equal to count if. Remember, I said count if is because there is a condition there. So I am going to say Excel should count if in this range. Will Excel find, comma, bracket, inverted commas open, and I am going to say greater than 11. After that, I hit enter. It tells me 7. Now, I know you may be wondering, before the video ends, you may be wondering why I have put this in inverted commas open and close, because I want Excel to manipulate them as one value. Remember, when I was looking at data types and structures, I told you about strings, and each time you put a character or a string or words in quote or maybe letters, Excel will manipulate them as a string. I will continue from here in the next video tutorial.